it's KiRAWRa. Hang on, let me turn my music down. It's a little bit loud. Where's my keyboard? Ooh, turn that down. Okay. Hello! We're doing a crafty stream today. This is the first stream that I have done from my new computer setup, so stuff is bound to be wonky. I've already noticed that on this screen, I totally forgot to put my stream starting soon banner. I've already messed it up. Ori says I can't even hear music. Uh-oh. It's kind of loud now. Can you hear it, Ori? I might have to turn it up on Stream Labs. Okay, I've turned it up a little bit. Tell me if you can hear it now. It is loud in my headphones, but that doesn't mean it's loud for you guys, as I have learned. I also have the dishwasher going in the background, which is really loud to me, but I hope you can't hear it. So, off the bat, like I said, this is my first stream from my new setup, so I had to reset up a lot of stuff. Streamlabs made it really easy. It had a lot of my images still like uploaded to the cloud and stuff, so that was fine. But the rats I actually had to completely remake. I forgot to export my stream avatars, and I didn't have like the files or the settings or the animations or anything in there. So this morning before the stream I was like, oh shit, I have to remake those. So I just finished remaking them, so there might be some stuff wonky, like you might have to re-pick out whatever rat color you were using before. It might have reset, I don't know, but I couldn't even remember what size they were. Like, check this out, I can make them bigger too. Giant rats! Yes, that's as big as they go, they're not that big. But I can also make them really tiny! Ooh, look how tiny they are! Kitty Go Mouse says I got you up on the TV. Oh no! Now all your neighbors can hear me through your paper-thin apartment walls. So I can't remember what size the rats were. I think they were about this big. So this is how big I'll keep them. But yeah, I don't remember because I had to redo all my settings. But the hats are fixed. Hopefully all the colors are there. Hopefully we're good to go. My fire's bigger than I am. Oh, did the fire not change? That's pretty funny. Alright, so, ooh, here's my hands. So I thought today that I would do a crafty stream because I've been posting a bunch of wire trees. I have one here that I made a couple weeks ago to serve as like an example of what a wire tree is. Let's see if my camera can focus on that. Please? Pretty please? There we go. Yay! So here's an example of a wire tree I made before. This one I'm probably going to put up for sale, but I'm going to bring it to a convention. If it doesn't sell, I'll put it up on Etsy, but I'm stocking this up for my convention. So this is what I'm going to try to show you how to make, or how I make, rather. I got into these wire trees basically by Googling wire tree, and there are just so many different things that you can make. I just sort of picked what interested me and kind of just looked at pictures and figured out how to make it, and tweaked it to suit my own personal style. So that's what I'm hoping you might do with this, whether you're interested in making a wire tree or not. Hopefully it'll just sort of give you inspiration to you know, maybe even make something else. Maybe make something that's not a tree. Just turn it into something that you find interesting and enjoyable.
Almost 2 years.
Ori! Thank you, Ori! And all the rats are excited. Kitty Mouse says, I have great hand model hands. Do I? My nails are where I drop off. My nails are paper thin and really crummy. Like, this one's just starting to grow back. You can see how chipped it is. My nails break all the time. They're awful. Ooh, modeling my hands. Look at all my skin creases. Okay, so I'm gonna start out by showing you guys, like, by the way, is the music better? Can you hear the music? I did turn it up a little bit. I didn't hear if you guys could hear it better or not. So I'm gonna sort of show all the supplies that I have here. Obviously, I'm gonna start with a metal ring. This, the rings that I use are about 2 inches big, and I have my straight edge here to sort of show you guys. This is a 2-inch big ring, or let's use the centimeter side. About 4.5 centimeters on the inside dimensions there. So that's how big of a ring that I use, but I kind of had this idea that I would sort of just show you guys how I do mine, and then you might follow along with like whatever you have. It's fine if you don't have exactly what I have. This is just, I love this craft because it's so forgiving. It's so easy for beginners. So if you just want to follow along and just get whatever you have, for example, these are some other rings that I just had on hand. This is from, I think Dreamcatcher kits. I had a Dreamcatcher kit where you're supposed to weave dream catchers into these rings, but I never used them for anything. So if you have something like that, it works fine. It doesn't have to be the exact size. This one's a little bit smaller, and some of them are bigger. So, I mean, you can just get whatever. Here's what I used the first time. The first time I ever made one of these trees, I used this funky ring here. And it's not ideal. It's really thin, and you can see that it's not even flat all the way. But it worked for just testing. And you know what it is? It's an earring. It's a hoop earring that I just disassembled. I just took one of these little hoops off the hoop earring, and then I used that. So I mean, like, honestly, you can just use whatever you have if you just want to try this out for yourself. So I highly encourage you to do that. Just go around your house and get some scraps and figure it out. Music is a little low on the TV, but you're giving a tutorial. It's not a big deal. Okay. Well, I can still turn it up a tad if you need me to. The Mega Trash says, hi, KiRAWRa. Hello, Mega Trash. If it's metal and round, it should work. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be metal, honestly. If you have like a plastic ring or a wooden ring, that would also work just fine. I wouldn't recommend a rubber ring, though. That would probably not work out well. Okay, so for the wire that I'm gonna use, I'll keep this little one here on the camera so that we have like a, you know, like movie finished product to just pull out of the oven without having to wait for it to bake, you know? So here's my big box of wire. I don't even know if I can fit this. Get in the camera. Ugh, you can't quite see it all. I have a big box of wire here. It took me some experimenting to find out the right kind exactly. So this is what I first used. Here is some silver colored wire. It says here this is 26 gauge. This ended up being a little bit too thin in my opinion. It's very workable, but it's not very lenient because it will just sort of snap and break because it's so thin. And then the the second wire that I used was this gold. I also have it in silver. This is 20 gauge. So this one's 26 gauge. This one is 20 gauge. And this ended up actually being too thick. I had a really, really hard time working with this wire. It made my hands super duper sore afterwards. So I would only recommend thicker wire. Please focus, camera. Oh my freaking god. I would only recommend thicker wire if you were working with a bigger hoop. These 2-inch hoops, it's just not great for wire this thick. So if you're working on a much bigger one, like maybe like this size hoop, this wire might work great for it. But I haven't tried because I don't want to make something on this big of a hoop. So the wire size that I ended up going with was 24 gauge. So one was 20, one was 26, and I felt like 24 was perfect, right in the middle there. Worked out great for me for these 2-inch hoops. So if you're using a similar size, I would recommend 24 gauge. I went and I got a bunch of other colors. So I think today I'll be using silver because that's the most common. I'm sure if anyone has wire, it's probably going to be silver. So I'll be using this silver on my silver hoop. I also have copper. Hang on. Copper. This is called aged bronze. This one is gold. It's super fakey bright because it's really cheap wire. My camera can't focus for crap. Megatrash says, how do you catch a star? When the star is like floating around here on the screen, you can either scroll down to the little stream avatars panel and click the jump button, or you can just type !jump in chat and your little ratty will hop up. But it's tricky because you have to time it right because there's a delay. So when the star is floating around here, you have to hit it just right for your rat to jump up and catch it. Oh, and here's the last color I have. It's supposedly gunmetal. I'm used to gunmetal being more of like a dark silvery bluish kind of black. Oh my god, why are you focusing on the only thing that you shouldn't be focusing on? Maybe this will help. Can you see it now? Yes, there we go. So I thought this was going to be more of a bluish sort of black, but in most lighting it just ends up looking like straight black. So that's a little disappointed, but once again, I got this wire super duper cheap. So we're just gonna make do with it. So here's just a comparison of all the different colors, so you can see it's really hard to judge online what it's gonna be like with studio lighting and all that. So here's just regular house lighting, so you can see what it looks like. So we're gonna be using silver. You can hear in my box I have my little jingle bells. It's my metals box. Throw all that back in there. Megatrash is following. Thank you so much, Megatrash. Alright, so this is really going to be helpful if you have some sort of pliers. Doesn't have to be the best pliers in the world, but working with wire, even if it's thin and pliable, is going to hurt your fingers, especially if you have sad little weenie fingers like mine. At one point I had calluses, but not quite so much anymore. Now they're just easily damaged. So I have, these are called needle nose, these are called needle nose pliers. These specifically are jewelry pliers, you can see, because they're so thin and the inside is very smooth. These, on the other hand, are hardware pliers, and you can tell because they have these sort of like gator teeth in here for gripping, and they also have a wire cutter right here. That's what that sharp bit is inside. It's for cutting the wire. Now, if you don't have pliers that double as wire cutters, you can also just get wire cutters. So this is a more flat version. This one cuts sideways and this one cuts more forward. It's like burp, burp. So yeah, you're definitely gonna want wire cutters. You're definitely gonna want pliers for this. Can you make trees with multiple colors of wire or just one? Oh, you absolutely can make trees with different colors of wire. I have no idea how that will look because I've never thought to do that, and I've never actually seen anyone do that. But that's totally possible. The thing is, if you start to really make some nice ones that you want to sell, like I plan to do, you're gonna want to get colored rings. See, I'm matching my silver wire with my silver ring, and I would match my gold wire with my gold ring here. So if you use different colored wire, your ring is gonna sort of stick out. You can see here how you can see gaps in between. You could see if my camera would focus. Here we go. So you can see how the wire, the ring sticks out in between this wire here. So it's not probably gonna look so good if you have two different colors clashing there. I think that's why people tend to stick with one color of wire. But I mean, there's no reason you can't try it. Absolutely try it. I would love to see how that turns out. I bet you can make some really pretty trees that way if you're not really concerned about the ring being visible. Wire cutters look like dinosaur mouths. I can control my rat. That's so cool. Yeah! Your little ratty can do stuff. It can dance. It can jump. It can eat. Right now, the only accessory is a hat, which I hope to expand later. Hopefully next time I stream, there'll be some little extra things. I will get into this later. But as you can see, my tree has beads on it. Now, when I started this project, I didn't plan to put beads on my tree. I was just gonna make straight wire trees. But then I put beads on it, and I was like, oh, dang, that's pretty. So here's just a look at some beads. These are my glass beads. I also have plastic beads. Now, I don't think I'm really going to be using much of these, but it's just an example of some stuff that you could use. I was just taking whatever I had on hand. So these, for example, are made with my cat's eye beads. Cat's eye is a glass. It's a synthetic stone. It might look like tiger eye to you. Tiger eye is the naturally occurring version of this stone, and cat's eye is the man-made version. It has that nice sort of shiny streak right down the middle, as you can see. So I really like these beads for trees. They look very pretty. But you can use whatever you have. It works just fine. Like, for example, here are some plastic beads. These blue and green ones I've been using for the trees a lot. So I have all kinds of colors here. Just whatever you have that might fit on the size of the wire that you have would work just fine. Find tiny dinosaur beads, grow a dinosaur tree? Absolutely. Those would have to be really tiny beads, or you could just make like a much bigger tree like that. If you made a tree on this, you could absolutely find dinosaur beads that would fit. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna take this plastic, measuring device off of my wire spool there. So I have my straight edge here so that you can see what I'm measuring out to. And it's upside down for you. There we go. Nope, wrong side. Okay, now you can see that. So I'm gonna start by taking my wire here. And I believe I measured it out to like 6.5 inches here, which is, what's it say, like 14 centimeters. So 6.5 inches or 14 centimeters, I measure it out to the end here, and then I, put a little notch in it, just like that. See how I've creased it there? And then I just bend it at that part that I creased it. Straighten it out again. Take my wire cutters and cut it there. So I measured one side, and then I creased it, and then I just folded it so that I have a perfect 6.5 inch on, what do I call it, like on either side. I've got like 2 wire now connected here. So I'm gonna do that about 11 more times. I think I cut about 12 of these. I think 12, hang on, I can just count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay, so you count the roots here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's how many threads that I cut. So just make 12 of those. We were warned that the new computer might have glitches. Oh, is it glitching? Uh-oh. That's on Twitch's end. It doesn't say that I'm having any issues on my side of the stream. Uh-oh. Let me know if it becomes, like, unwatchable. So I'll just keep those down there so you can see. So I have my spool here, and I'm just uncurling it like this to get the wire out. Stopped working for a few seconds, then stream came back. Okay. That's good. I don't have Cvizzle here to like help me with the technical side if something goes terribly wrong. Let me know if the stream cut out during an important bit of me like explaining and you didn't get to see what it was I was talking about. So I'll do my best to explain every part of it. Now once again, I'm measuring out to 6.5 inches for this because it works good for my 2-inch hoop. That might be too much wire if you're working with a smaller hoop, or it might not be enough wire if you're working with a bigger hoop. So keep that in mind with the size that you're working with, because it would be totally awful if you were wrapping your tree and then suddenly you ran out of wire and couldn't finish it. For bigger hoops, would the length of wire... Oh, I just explained that. Sorry. Sorry, Ori. You were probably asking the question right as I was about to answer. Alright, what are we at here? 1, 2... Okay, I've cut 8 so far. I do have some more hoops on the way. A friend of mine wanted to order a custom tree. She wanted it with black wire. And was wondering if this, like, the silver was gonna show through on the black, right? Now, what a lot of people do actually is, because it's very hard to find these rings in other colors, you can get them in silver in any size imaginable, but as soon as you start needing other colors, they become very, very scarce and hard to find. I was able to get my hands on some black hoops and some bronze hoops. I could not for the life of me find anything in copper. So my copper wire is gonna sit unused, unfortunately, until I can figure out what to do. But what a lot of people do actually is they'll just take a silver hoop and they'll take whatever color wire they're working with and wrap it all the way around, and they'll go around the whole hoop before they ever start working on the tree at all. So the whole hoop will be wrapped in wire all the way around in the color that they need. That's too much work for me. That would take forever, and I don't want to do that. So I chose the lazy route in just trying to find hoops in the color that I need. But it's kind of the standard. Most of these that you find will, or, you know, trees that you find that people have made for sale, they will have wrapped all the way around in wire before ever starting their tree. So I'm just like, ugh, that would take forever. I don't want to do that. But if this bothers you, if the fact that your wire and your hoop doesn't match, if that bothers you, that's what you can do, is you can prep the hoop by wrapping the color that you're going to use on it first. Or he says it's too bad. Copper's my favorite metal. Oh. Yeah, there's so much stuff for like plumbing. There's copper plumbing pipes and all that, but nothing specifically like this that I could find. Okay, we're at 11, so let me just cut one more. Yeah, when I couldn't find copper, what I did was I searched for rose gold, because rose gold has gotten pretty popular in like jewelry and stuff now, and it's virtually the same color when it comes to wire. So I found rose gold jump rings, but nothing that was specifically 2 inches big. So that was a little disappointing, but I got closer looking for rose gold. Okay, so here's all 12 of my wires here. I'm gonna move my straight edge out of the way because we don't need that anymore. I'm trying to keep that in view, but like out of the way. Too much work to cut really thin slices off copper pipes. Oh my gosh. If I wanted to try and slice my fingers open, maybe. Alright, so now we're going to begin making the roots of the tree. We start at the roots and then we work our way up to the branches. So I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to slide it through just like that. Let's try to get a good look here if the camera wants to focus. There we go. So I've just taken that part that I bent and put it right on the ring. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to loop it around. Oop, stay in view of the camera. Just going to loop it all the way around. So I took it and I did one loop around. Just like that. And I'm gonna do that with all the rest of them. I can get the thing on there. So I've moved on to the next one here. I'm gonna take it and loop it around just like that. And I'm sort of pulling it tight by pulling on the wire here. So as you can see, I now have two. So we're just gonna do that with all the rest of them. And you know, as I've said, this is just the way that I do it. I genuinely didn't look up like any other tutorials. Not that I could really find any for these. I just Googled images of wire trees and sort of dissected from the image how someone may have gone about doing that, and I just sort of tried it for myself. So this is just kind of the way that works for me. I'm sure that the methods don't vary too much, but it's totally possible that this doesn't work for you and you can find some other way to do it. Remember to pull pretty tight on the wire, because that will make sure that it hangs on there. Like, you can see that I can still slide the wire around, so it's not immovable, but it is on there really tight. You can see how there's like no extra space on there or anything. And if you need to use the pliers to help you out, absolutely go ahead and do that. Especially like these grippy ones, because they have the little grippy bits inside. These are too smooth. These don't help quite as much, but you know, some pliers is better than no pliers. I'm working in a smaller area than normal. I'm sitting at my computer desk right now. At one time, I had hoped I would be able to hook up a camera or a second computer in my craft room so that I could sit in my craft room and, you know, work on stuff like this. But that hasn't quite been set up yet. So I'm sitting at my computer desk, like wedged in between my tablet and my keyboard. With a microphone down my throat. So I apologize that I keep taking this out of frame. My webcam is at an awkward angle and I have such a small amount of space to keep this in frame here. Cvizzle says, hello. Hello, Cvizzle. And of course, you know, feel free to ask questions about, you know, anything that maybe you're confused about, or maybe I didn't explain well, or you need to see another demonstration. Now, sometimes the wire gets really unruly like this, and it starts getting in the way, and you just have to try and bunch it back up like this. Gonna be right back. Okay. Had to go get another trusty tool, the rubber band. So if your wire starts to get ornery and annoying, you can just do that. Tell it to behave. Ori says, can you clip a clothespin to the trailing wires to keep them under control? Ori, you are so good at like reading my mind and asking the questions that I'm just about to answer. It's kind of freaky. My tool of choice is rubber band, but yeah, clothespin will work. You know, probably even like a twisty tie, that would probably work. KiRAWRa has been live for 14 minutes. That doesn't sound right. 14 minutes. Did my stream cut out? 14 minutes. I feel like I've been streaming for longer, but oh, what the heck do I know? Yeah, stream cut out and was offline when Ori said it was glitching. Oh, that's so weird. I had like nothing on my screen said that I was dropping frames or cutting out or anything like that. Really strange. Yeah, see Vizzle, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there. It's really weird. Okay, so here's all of my little tree roots on there. Now they're on there very loose because I only did one loop just to secure them on there. So now, does it say you're dropping frames right now? No, it says that I've dropped 0 frames the whole time. So it's really strange that it cut out. Like everything's totally running fine for me. Like my music isn't even buffering or anything, which is awesome. What was I saying? So we only did one loop just to get them on there. So now we need to make some really solid tree roots. So we're gonna loop them a couple more times. So we're gonna take one and separate it from the group by sliding it like that. And then we can just put the hair tie in and keep those out of the way. So here's our one that we're going to be working with. Oh, my keyboard is in the way. Alright, now what I do for this is, for these rings, these are called unwelded, which means the ring has just been bent in a ring shape and there's nothing here really keeping it together. Camera, please. There we go. So there's nothing, there's no like welding glob here that you would see. It's just straight across. The first thing I like to do when making a tree is cover that up so that in the finished version you won't be able to tell that there's a gap in the ring at all. So I'll take my first little tree root and I'll put it right over that gap so that we won't be able to see that. It really doesn't matter that much. I mean, no one will be able to see that anyway, but you know, that's just kind of how I am. So I'm going to wrap this a couple more times Let's see if I can show you guys here. You see, I need something tiny to point with. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you, webcam. Please. Pretty please. There's nothing here. Stop focusing on it. Get my trusty notepad. Oh my goodness, it is not wanting to comply with me. Come on! Come on! Come on! Hey, there we go. Okay. So this is one wire here. And because we've creased it in the middle, one wire makes 2 tree roots. So here's one side of the wire, and here's the other side of the wire. And you can count how many times the wire wraps in between. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from one end of the wire to the other end of the wire is 6 loops. And that creates this nice little V gap that you see in between the tree roots here. If the tree roots are too close together, then, you know, they'll just look like one root coming up instead of this sort of nice natural V shape here. So that's what we're going to be doing at the very base. It's a giant jump ring that would be really hard to open again. Yeah, that's essentially exactly what this is. So if I count my loop here, because we've only looped it around once, I have 1, 2. So we're gonna loop it around until we can count 6. I think 6 is a good number. It's a good spacing between the roots, in my opinion. You can make your tree roots spaced closer together or farther apart, however you may like. There we go. Okay. So now I've looped it around a couple more times. And you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. And if you notice your wire is a bit too loose, or you're having trouble getting it tight, that's when you can take your pliers and just yank down on it like that. Whoop. So then, like I said, I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it right over that gap there. So now, there's no gap. You'll never be able to find it. Alright, so now, moving on to our next root. And just doing the same thing, looping it a couple times. My magic number is 6. But your magic number, and that's once again, I'm not looping it 6 times. I'm just looping it enough times that I can count 6 little bands on the wire. Which is, I don't know, maybe like 4 rotations of the wire? I'm not sure. Trying to keep this in frame, but my keyboard is right up here, and my wires are like hitting the keyboard and then like bending that way to keep it all straight. My wire's just going all over the place. Might need 2 rubber bands. It does help to sort of keep everything separated on opposite sides so that you can focus on the one that you're working on here without the others getting in the way. How long was it before my stream cut out, do you think? I feel like I started streaming around 6. Ori was just about to say I needed a second rubber. There you go, read my mind again. You need to get out of my head, Ori. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a second rubber band. Got a bright yellow one this time. Looks like you started about 15 minutes ago based on first post in chat. Okay. Yeah, I thought I started around 6, so wow, it's already been about an hour. That's crazy. Under optimal conditions, I feel like I can get one of these trees done in about an hour and a half. But this is not optimal conditions. KiRAWRa, are you planning to complete the wire tree in this stream? Yeah, I'll either complete it or get just about there. The part that takes the absolute longest, for me at least, is finishing wrapping wire around all the outside where all the branches are. Because the thing is, when you start at the base of the tree, you have 2 wires that you're wrapping as one. So you only have 12 down here when you're starting, because that's how many wires you've started. But they're wrapped around each other. So that's just 12. When you get up to here, it doubles, right? Because now they're all branches instead of wrapping around each other as roots. So doing 12 here doesn't take very long, but then having to do 24 all the way around, that takes forever. So, I mean, I can get to where the beads are on here, and I can get the branches secure, but actually finishing off all the wire around here, I may just cut that part out depending on how tired we all are. Because that's just finishing up. I mean, we're basically done at that point. It always takes longer when you're explaining it. Yeah, that's true. Gotta do all the setup and tutorializing. I hope this ends up being useful for people. You know, I think it's cool when there's a craft that you might not have considered ever making before because you just didn't know how it was done. And then when someone does a tutorial and you see, oh, it's actually not that hard at all. Maybe I can try this. And, you know, you just really open up opportunities for people because they might not have ever considered it before because they just didn't know where to start. So hopefully y'all watching this will be like, oh, that's actually not so hard, and you know, the materials are pretty cheap and easy to come by. It's like a little alien face. It's like alien pigtails. The most difficult part is probably finding a good metal loop. I had to get these ones that I'm using now here. I bought these on Etsy. So if you have absolutely no other options, Etsy always has your back for artist supplies. But I mean, like I said earlier, you don't have to find perfect rings. You can just grab. See, you weren't here, but I was telling them earlier about how I had this hoop earring, and that was the first thing that I made a tree on. I just disassembled a hoop earring and just used one of these hoops. So I mean, you know, it's not ideal, but you know, people can totally make awesome crafts just off of what they have. And you know, you can also use a wooden ring or a plastic ring. Plastic would probably be a little bit difficult because it might be really slippery. But metal's pretty slippery too. I think wood would probably be fun. So there's a lot of texture in it. Bamboo rings? That would probably be really pretty. Especially if you used like a darker bronze wire or a black wire. That would probably be a really cool contrast. One of my favorite trees is one where I used a really dark bronze and then I put white beads on it. And it made this really pretty contrast. It was my favorite tree. Did you mention the gauge wire you were using? I did, but I can mention it again. I'm using a 2-inch hoop, and for 2-inch hoops, I chose 24 gauge wire. I found that 20 was too thick and 26 was too thin and brittle. If you're working on an even smaller ring, then 26 might work for you. And if you're working on an even bigger ring, then 20 can also work for you. It really depends on the scale that you're working at. I think 2-inch hoops are really good though, because it's not too small that it's impossible to work with, but it's also a little bit on the big side. I know people make these wire trees for like necklaces and pendants and stuff, and this is just a little bit too big to wear on a necklace. I feel like it's too, I don't know, it's too weighty. I mean, yeah, I guess you could wear this on a necklace, but oh yeah, I guess you could wear this on a necklace. It seems a little big for me. It seems just a little big for me, but I guess if you wanted to make these into necklaces, you absolutely could. I've been putting them on keychain loops. I'll take a little jump ring and I'll put it right here at the top, and then I'll put like a little keychain, like just put a little keychain loop on it like that. I'm not sure I would recommend wearing it around as a keychain, like on a key ring. I don't know how much of it, I mean, it is wire, so it will hold up to being, you know, beaten on, but there's all these little gaps in here where it could easily like get caught on something and, you know, yanked. So if you're gonna be rough with it, I wouldn't recommend this. I would use it as maybe like a tree ornament, or on your like your car rear view mirror. People hang little charms from there. Maybe just like a house decoration, I think would be nice. I really wouldn't want to be rough with it. Not because I think it will break, because it is wire, it's very tough, but I think it could easily just get snagged on something and, you know, you could easily ruin something that way. Ceiling fan pole. Now that would be an interesting spot to hang it. I'm reminded every summer that I have 2 ceiling fans in my house that I never use or turn on. Ceiling fans are just so pointless to me. I don't even know how to turn on the one in the living room. I think it has a remote control or something. There's no, like, Yankee chain. The one in the bedroom has a Yankee chain on it, but in the living room it's just... Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing on it. I think it has a remote. Somewhere. Somewhere! Yeah, it's a chain that you yank. I don't know. What do you call it? It's a Yankee chain. A pull chain. You're a pull chain. Don't make fun of me. Okay, we're on our last route here. The wire's sticking up. It looks like you're getting ready to weave a basket. Yeah, because they're now spreading out more. They're following the circle. So as you can see, they're at an angle now. If I were to take this off, now they all splay in different directions because they're taking up more space and they're following the curve now. So this is when your rubber band really comes in handy, because now the wire just wants to go all over the place. So come here, wire. Behave. I don't know how I know that. I may have made it up, says Kitty Go Mao. Yeah, I don't know. It's if you made it up, then I can call it a Yankee chain. Adjective plus noun, KiRAWRa naming structure. Isn't that everyone's naming structure? I would think. Can we call her fingers wire twisters now? My fingers are many things, and wire twisters are one of them. Okay, now we have wrapped all of our roots around, so let's see if I can't get my camera to focus on a close-up again. Come on, come on, you can do it. Oh, you're so close. There we go. So I'll just hold it there in case on replay anyone wants to pause the video and count. So there's 6 little gaps for each wire. So now they're more spread out, and that's the base of our tree roots. So I'm gonna take, oh my god, Sivizzle, don't be gross. I'm gonna take our first tree root here. And this is where our pliers really come into play. Now this is gonna be a little bit difficult for me to explain. because I don't know why this is. So there's a specific angle at which you're going to want to twist this wire. It kind of depends on how you put it in there. I don't know why this makes such a big difference, but it's definitely something that I noticed when I was working with it. So you want to twist your wire back from the direction. Let me try and find the words. On the other side of the hoop, which it sits, you have this side of the hoop and you have this side of the hoop. Now you're going to have a wire on each side. So the wire that's on this side of the hoop, you want to twist it back this way, and the wire that sits on the other side of the hoop, you're going to want to twist it up this way. So let me just twist it really quick so that you can see how that works. You don't want to make it too tight, otherwise your wire is going to stretch and break. So you got to be careful. You don't want to twist it right here at the base because you're not giving your wire any room. You want to move up a little bit so that your wire has some room to twist. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to see if I can't stay in focus here, and I'm going to twist it like that. Give it 2 turns there. And that is how it looks now. I may have twisted it a little tight. I don't have that nice V in there. Now I'm going to twist the wire the other way. Oh, all my wire moved. Look, here's that gap in the ring there. My wire moved. Get on that gap. Sit on that gap, silly wire. Oh, it doesn't want to. Oh, it doesn't want to. Come on. There we go. I had to wiggle it on there. Okay. Now you can see how when I twisted the wire, it went straight up, and we have this nice, straight, what do you call it? Like, loops there that we did. That it doesn't want to focus on. Now I'm going to twist the wire the wrong way so that you can see what happens when we twist it wrong. So this time, instead of twisting it opposite, I'm going to twist it towards itself so that you can see what happens when we twist it the wrong way. Okay. Oop, I just smacked my face in the microphone, sorry. That one didn't really do it. I didn't do it bad enough. See, Vizzle, thank you for the subscribble. Okay, I had to twist this one really tight so that you can see what happens when we do it the wrong way. Okay, here's the right way. This one right here. That's the correct way. And then this is what happens if we've twisted it the wrong way. It's very subtle, but you can see how the wire has now crossed in front of itself there. It doesn't look as orderly. I'm trying to get it to really show up. I might have a better example on my finished tree. I do have a better example on my finished tree. Here we go. So like I said, it's a difficult thing to explain because, okay, see these roots here were all twisted the correct way. You can see it's nice and straight and smooth. This root right here was twisted the wrong way. And you see how when that happens, if you twist it wrong, the wire crosses in front of itself. And now we have this sort of janky looking profile here, whereas here it's nice and smooth, straight across. All these wires, nice and smooth. And this one we twisted wrong, so it sticks out. Now, like I said, this is just me being picky. You might be doing this and you don't notice anything wrong. That's perfectly fine. I just prefer this nice, smooth root system, and I don't like it when the wires cross in front of each other like that. I think it looks a little bit messy. So I try to avoid that by twisting the wires the way that I showed you. So that's all that I was trying to demonstrate there. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take all the rest of our branches and now we're just gonna give them a little twist. I'd say like 2 or 3 twists should do it. So now I'm leaving some space there. I'm not twisting it all the way at the base because that will break my wire. I'll be pulling it too hard. Twisting it a little bit up here. And if you've made some gaps in between your roots, like you didn't pull the wire tight enough, this part is gonna pull your wire nice and tight. Just like that. I'm gonna slide this up with my finished tree roots. Having them cross makes it look like the root is overgrowing the bounds and trying to escape, says Ori. Yeah, I think it's a little distracting and it looks a little messy to me. But I mean, for you, perhaps you don't mind at all. Perhaps you like that look and you want to accentuate that in your trees. That's perfectly fine. But it is just a little detail that I wanted to point out so that you can know exactly what I'm doing and exactly why and what I'm thinking and all that. Okay, I'm sorry I keep going out of frame there. I have to really lift it up so I can twist my arm around with the pliers. And they become difficult to slide around on this ring once you tighten them like that, so I kind of nudge it with my pliers here. It really doesn't want to. Come on. Let's grab the wrong ones. Ori says, I should not be so amused by slinging my rat halfway across the screen, but the flying rat still amuses me. Who wants to come sit up in my workstation here? What special rat? I think we have a lot of rats in here. I don't know why Nightbot has a rat. Like I said, I had to remake everything, so there are some probably strange settings in here. Where are you, Ori? Come here, Ori. Where am I gonna put you? Oh, hang out in the rubber band. Boop. There you go. Now you're stuck up there. No more stars for you. Please put me down before I fall to my death. So I looked at it. Apparently there is a timer. I think it said like 180 seconds or something like that. So now we know why you fall. There we go. More than halfway done with our roots. Did you still catch the star? Oh my gosh, Ori, I tried to put you up there so you wouldn't be greedy with the stars and you still caught it. Oh, that's so funny. Alright, get down from there. Get down from there. Oh, you're balancing on your you're balancing on your tail. Oh my gosh. See, this says, Ori, I tried to attack you to save you, but I can't reach with my nub arms. Alright. Now the rubber band isn't quite necessary for this part because these wires here, because they've been twisted now, are hanging onto this pretty tightly. So they're no longer flopping around. You can see that they're hanging on very tightly as opposed to these, which you can see how easily they move around because they're not tightened yet. So once the wires get twisted nice and tightly, they become much more easier to manage. And last one. There we go. There's all of our roots nice and tight on our little Wilson hoop now. Alright, now here's the fun part. Now we're gonna start to make the roots of our tree. Now, I tied all these on the outside because that just makes it easier to keep them out of the way. But now we're gonna turn them inward like this. You can see how they all crisscross now. Ah, yes. Now they will soon be a tree. Okay, but I don't want all of them at once. We're only gonna work with a couple at a time. So let's fold these back out. Now I'm gonna take the root and I'm gonna twist it a couple more times so it's a little bit longer. So here's how much I've twisted it now. You can see I've twisted it about up to here. So it's a little bit longer. We don't want it to be too short. We also don't want it to be too long. And now here's a second one. I will now twist this one a little bit longer. Just like that. Now, when I'm working on my tree, I like to work from left to right. I'll start at this edge and I'll go this way. It doesn't matter which edge you start from, but the one you start from is probably going to be the farthest from your tree. As an example, on this one, I started here, and as I worked this way, you can see how the tree sort of curved that way. So here's my starting root, and I curved my tree that way. You can also make a straight tree if you want. If you want to make a straight tree, you're going to want to start with the middle roots. You can see I started with the far... Oh, is my mouse on screen? I'm sorry. There we go. Now it's gone. I'm so sorry. If you want a curved tree, you're going to want to start from one side of the roots and then work your way to the other side, and that will create this nice curved effect. But if you want a straight tree that's trunk comes right up in the middle, you're going to want to start from the middle roots and then sort of bring the others in like this instead of going like this. I mean, it's I wish I had a different tree to show you. I could probably like turn on my screen. Actually, hang on. Let me find a different tree to show you. Okay, so here's a different tree that I did. You can tell that this one is much more up and down. You can see how the shortest roots are in the middle because that's where I started twisting it. And then the... Can I get my mouse on here? Ah, yes, there's my mouse. Okay, so you can see how the shortest roots are down here because that's where I started twisting them together. And then as I went up here, that's when I brought these roots up into the middle here. So if you prefer a straighter, more like, I guess, pine tree looking one, that's how you would do that straight trunk. But I'm probably going to show how to do a curved tree this time because I like how the curved tree looks. I'm just gonna make these roots a little bit longer. I only did a couple twists, but they need to be a little bit longer. Windswept, that's a good word for it. Yeah, much more windswept tree. Kind of reminds me of like the beach. Sort of like beachy trees. Not beach trees. Just trees at the beach. Sorry, I'm off camera again. Just trying to do this quickly. Oops, I am so sorry if I just scraped the microphone with metal. That probably did not sound good. it sound fine? Okay. I'm so used to like every little tap and breath and gulp of water just being like so disgustingly amplified on the microphone that like every time I tap it or hit it or, you know, like come close to it, I feel like, oh, that probably sounded awful. Okay, so I've made all my roots a little bit longer. You can see I put some extra twists into all of them. Come here, trusty notepad. Please, come on. How about my fingers? You'll focus on my fingers, right? There we go. Okay. So you can see now they're a little bit longer. They have some extra twists in there. But not too much. We don't want to go all the way up. We don't want to make our wire too twisty or else we might break it. Okay. Now I'm gonna start from one edge. And I'm gonna start twisting just like this. Now once again, you don't want to get like right up in there. You want a nice natural gradient to your roots. So we don't want to twist them too close to the bottom. Otherwise we're going to get rid of that sort of V pattern, that growing V pattern of the roots. So I'm going to twist it like closer up here or even up here. Like this. Or he says someone else jump for the star. Yeah, if you see a star on screen, you see this little star sort of floating around here. If you click the jump button on the stream avatars widget, your rat will jump up and try to catch it. You can also type !jump in chat, but it's tricky because there is a delay. Oh, the star went away. Hang on, let me put another star for you guys. There you go. Now there's some more stars for you, so you can try to get the try to get the star. All right, did I show this? So here I am, twisting it more, just like that. Oh, and my thing's separated. Don't do that. There we go. And we're gonna give it a gradual twist all the way up for the rest of our roots. And you don't want to twist all of them exactly the same. Sometimes you can twist 2 of them together like I've just done. You can also twist 3 of them together. I'll do 3 here. So here's what it looks like when you twist 2, and here's what it looks like when you twist 3. So you see how you're creating like a really nice sort of natural random looking root system there. You don't want it to be too perfect because nature isn't perfect. All right, now I'm going to take the 2 that I've just twisted and I'm going to twist those together. Just like this. And there we're starting to build the base of our tree. And now here's all of your other roots, and you'll just do the same thing. Slowly work your way across. Remember, we're building like a windswept tree that's leaning to one side, so I'm gonna just slowly work my way over this way. Oh, as I smack the shit out of my webcam. And because it is wire, sometimes it gets a little bit stiff. It is okay for you to like push on it and kind of reshape it a bit the way that you want it. It's perfectly fine. Your wire will be fine. Should be tough enough to withstand that. You can take your little pliers in here and sort of manipulate the roots a little bit. Get them to spread out a little bit more because we're twisting it together here. They have a tendency to bunch up. So I'm just kind of stabbing my pliers in here and getting them to spread out a little more. Just like that. So that's how it's coming along. Looking nice, looking like a tree. We're getting there. We're getting there. This is definitely the fun part. I mean, it's all the fun part. I love making these wire trees. Like I said earlier, it's such a forgiving craft, you know, because trees are totally random, sort of natural shapes that can grow any which way. It's kind of difficult to make a tree that doesn't look good doing this. They all come out having their own little personality, like their own unique shapes. Every tree is so unique. So here I am slanting the wire a bit to make my tree a little bit more slanted. I'm sort of pushing it down like this to get it to slant this way. You want to go only a little bit at a time. See how my tree is not very tall and I'm working the roots in together. You want to really stay below, like, I want to say like half the diameter of the ring. Is that the word I'm looking for? You don't want to make it too tall because you have to save a lot of room for all of your branches. See how I have a lot of branches here, and the trunk of my tree only goes up to here before the branches start coming out. So you have to be really careful not to accidentally make your tree too tall or take up too much space before you get to your branches. So you can see my tree is very short right now, and I still have a couple roots to add in there. Blanky! Blanky's here! Blanky is yelling into chat. Hello, Blanky. Alright, so all of my wires are now mushed into one tree trunk. They're all twisted together. Here's how my roots came out. They're very pretty. And now I'm gonna give the tree trunk a couple of twists just to make sure it's all snug and together. I'm sorry, I keep taking it out of frame. And then, see, it's not very tall. And then I'm gonna start separating branches back out into, separating wires back out to form the branches. We want to start forming our branches really, really soon because, like I said, we want to leave a lot of space for our beads that we're going to be putting into there. Because a tree, despite probably being more root than it is leaves, we still want a lot of leaves on our tree. So here I am taking wire from the trunk and I'm separating it back out, sort of just saying, oh, I'm gonna put a branch here, I'm gonna put a branch there. So here's a big bundle. Now I'm just gonna twist that into a nice big branch. Just like this. Let's see if we can focus on that, please. Please, pretty please. There we go. Make a couple more branches. So you want to go from thick to thin. So this branch here, I've separated out 4 pieces of wire. So I've twisted them all together for this thick branch, and then now I'm going to divide it even further, like this, into more branches. So I'm going to twist these little bitty ones into branches. There we go. And then this is where we're going to put our beads, but not yet. We're going to sort out our whole tree before we start messing with beads. So here's sort of what I got going on here. Got our trusty notepad. Just like that. So you can see how I twisted the big tree branch, and then I divided it into littler tree branches, and then I divided it into single wires here. So we want, at the very edge of our ring, we want it to splay out into these one single wires so that we can put our beads on those. And if you're making a tree without beads, that's perfectly fine. You'll still want to do this step because it looks the most treeist, but you don't have to put beads on yours if you don't want to. If you just want to stop here and start finishing off the branches, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, when I first made these trees, I didn't intend to put beads on them, but then they just looked really good. It looked really good with beads, so I kept doing it. Does it matter if the wires you twist into the branches are the 2 ends of the same wire? I can't tell how easy it is to keep track. Oh no, I don't keep track of it at all. They sort of, when you're twisting it, they sort of start to separate naturally. Like you can see how they're sort of forming groups here. Like I might just, you know, take that little bunch there and just separate it. And you know, I can just divide this right here and make that a separate branch too. So they sort of start to break up into little groups anyway. Makes it easy, but you don't have to keep track of exactly what wire is which. Another thing I will say is that to make sure that they do group like this, because if you had, I don't know, let's say like this wire was wrapped up in this branch here, and then like halfway through, let me get an easier one. Like halfway through you decided that you wanted it to be in this bunch instead, and then now you've just created this really not very nice like crossover here. So you want to avoid doing that. Like you don't want to take this and then start twisting it into this branch, because that doesn't look natural, and that's gonna keep you from putting beads on it the way you want. So make sure when you start to section them off, don't twist them into the wrong groups, because it's gonna be real messy if you do that. What if I don't want to put beads on my tree but beans, says Seavizzle. Seavizzle, I'm not gonna stop your innovation, man. just, you do what suits you. You try the things that other people won't try. Okay, I'm gonna kind of use my other little tree here as a reference. Now, you can see here that I started breaking branches off for this side at the exact same level I started breaking branches off for this side. And you're gonna want to keep track of that, of where your branches are gonna go, because if you get too far up here and then you go, oh wait a minute, I forgot to make branches for this side of the tree, you're gonna end up with this big open gap here. And if you want a big open gap, that is perfectly fine, because you can actually hang a charm in the middle of your tree. Let me maybe find one. Ooh, this is a good one here. Okay, so this here is a great example of a tree if you had forgotten, or perhaps just purposefully didn't make any branches for this side of the tree until you got all the way up here. Now you see there's this big gap here where there's no branches. And maybe that's accidental, or maybe that's on purpose. You can make some really nice stylized crescent trees that way. You can also put a jump ring here, and you can hang like a little charm. You can hang like a little moon charm or a little star or something in this gap here. So that's just another option for you that would look really pretty if you can find like little bitty charms that will work in there. So there's just another idea for you to try out. I went and I bought a whole mixed bag from Amazon of stars and moons for these trees. I can probably go find them. Hang on, be right back. Okay, I'm back. It took me a moment to remember where I put my charm box. A bat charm hanging from a tree? That would be adorable. Oh my gosh. Now I'm sad I don't have a bat charm. I have like a little tiny fox though. Look at my little itty bitty fox. It's so tiny. That would look really cute on a tree. So here's my whole pack of stars and moons that I bought. And there are some fairly tiny ones in here. Like here's a little moon with a star. This one's very small. That would work well for a tree. And you don't have to hang them in the... Ooh, here's a little shooting star. That one's very small and pretty. You don't have to hang them in the middle of your tree if you don't want to. You can also hang it off the bottom. Let me show another example. Gonna have to go into my stash folder here. So here's an example of some where I hang little charms off the edge. So if you want to do that, that would work out awesomely well. There's a lot of little options, for you to consider. That's why these trees are so fun. Because you can make them different in a bunch of different ways, and they'll all look really nice and really pretty. As I put back all my charms here. I like this one. It's like a little magic wand. I have no idea what you would do with this. Well, this one has all the seasons on it. That's a neat one. It's got seasons on the charm. Let me pick up my mess. I'm sorry. And these are all, I think these are all silver and gold and bronze charms, and it's pretty easy to find wire in that color, so you can also match those easily. Just some ideas for you. I had one where I hung a little dragon off the edge. Can probably show that one too. Here's my first one. I had a little bitty dragon charm there. And this is like, this is actually the first one I made, and you can see, just like I said, that the ring is not what I'm using now. I made this from that earring hoop that I talked about, so... And you know, that's how it turned out. This is the very first tree that I made from a hoop that wasn't perfect, from wire that was too thin that kept breaking. And I think it still turned out pretty nice. So I think this is a really good example of how lenient these trees are and how nice they are for beginners, for anyone who wants to attempt this. Okay, back to our tree. So here I've started the branches there for this side of the tree. And a trick to this is just trying to spread your branches evenly around the whole thing. You're gonna find doing this that you'll end up with a lot of branches in one area, and then another area of the tree is gonna end up being very sparse. So just trying to balance that has definitely been a learning curve, I think. You usually end up with a lot of branches at the very top and then not a whole lot at the very bottom. So with a little bit of practice, you will be good at recognizing where you should put more branches and where you should put less. And making sure that when you get all the way to the end of your hoop, you've spaced them out really well. I'm kind of just rearranging how my branches look and using my wires to separate them or bring them closer together. Okay, despite saying that I was gonna make a leaning tree, this tree turns out to not be leaning so much. It's definitely something that you have to just be open about, is that you can't expect too much from these trees. And that's kind of why they're fun, because they turn out so different each time. Even if you do the exact same thing every time, just the random nature of it is gonna make them different. So once I get a couple of these twisted more, I'll show you what it looks like. The tree does what the tree wants. Yeah, it really does. This is not a craft that listens very well. Okay, so here's kind of how my tree is turning out. I took a lot of branches out at the very beginning, so I have some thick branches at the bottom, and I think that's why it didn't turn out to be leaning so much. But here's how it is right now. The camera seems to like it if I put my thumb in the middle. You like my thumb? You want to focus? Almost. Oh, it's trying so hard. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of how my tree is turning out. Just get a look at it there. Now I'm going to be working on... See, I have these big groups of branches here and here. Then I'm going to work on twisting thinner and thinner until I get down to one wire each. Yeah, the camera is also a craft that doesn't listen very well. Really wish I could position my camera like a little bit higher so that I wouldn't go out of frame so often. I am sorry about that. Now you also want to be careful not to accidentally twist your wire the wrong direction. You'll want to try really hard to keep twisting everything the same direction, because if you start to twist it opposite, you're going to start to untwist your wire, and then lower parts of your tree might start to sort of come apart or separate, or your tree will turn out sort of loose looking. So I've definitely done that before, where I twisted the wire the wrong way and then I was like, uh-oh, my tree's coming apart. This music's kind of spooky. Okay, just a couple more branches. How many trees have I made? Asks Seavizzle. The ones that I'm currently posting to DeviantArt and Instagram and my socials, those are all from December, and of my December trees I made 14. I'm not done uploading them all yet. I still have maybe like 4 or 5 more to upload in the coming days. But yeah, in December I made 14 of these, and since December this is the only one that I have made, because when you make 14 trees, you kind of want to take a break after that. But yeah, I got pretty burnt out. But now I'm ready to make more trees. Okay, so I think I've got all my branches here. So let's see if I can't get a nice good close-up of how this has come out. Please? Look, here's my thumb. You like my thumb? Yeah, you like my thumb, don't you? Okay. So there is how my tree came out. It ended up having a much straighter trunk than I intended, but that's okay, because sometimes trees just be like that. And you can see out here all along the edge, we are now down to just a single wire. You don't want to twist multiple wires. You want to make sure that when you get to the very edge, you've reached the end of your wire, but you want to make sure that you've left gaps in here so that you can fit your beads. If you want to put beads. You don't have to put beads, but I'm going to put beads. So now I'm going to figure out what beads I want to put on this. It is a silver tree, so just about any color would work. So let me look at what I have and see what beads I want to use for this. I just recently got some new colors. I got this rainbow of colors here. So these would be really nice. This whole rainbow. I can't use the red or the orange because that's what my friend commissioned. So I'm taking those out of the selection. I also have black and white. I have these interesting sort of almost like wood colored. I think these are glass beads, but these have a strange texture to them. I also have gold. I've got a crap load of silver. I think this might be nice. These are the same size, but they have like some iridescence to them. They get sort of green or purple or orangey, so these are nice beads. Red beads for an autumn tree. Yeah, that's the one color that I can't use. I can't use my red or orange because the pack that I bought, like this is the amount that came in the pack. Can you believe that? It's so few. So I don't want to use red or orange because I need to wait for my other hoops to come in so I can make the red orange tree for my friend, and they didn't give me enough beads for like 2 trees, which is sucky. But I could use any of the others. Kitty Go Mouse says, I have red beads you can have. Thank you, Kitty Go Mouse. Oh, what if I put gold? That would be pretty cool. Silver and gold tree. What do you guys think? Could do silver and gold tree. That would be pretty. I want to use these gold beads. I also have these slightly not quite as shiny. Nah, I want to use gold. I have a bunch, like 3 times the amount you have. Like, it would be really nice if, yeah, I would definitely like some more red. I would love to do some more autumn colored trees. Or like an apple tree. Like if I use the green beads and then I put some little red specks in there, it would be like an apple tree. How pretty would that be? Oh my gosh. That would be super pretty. Apple tree sounds cute, yeah. An orange and lemon tree too. Oh my gosh, I could do a lemon tree. Look at that. That's a good idea. Get a little orchard. I'd probably do that. I probably wouldn't do that with the silver wire. I would probably do that with my bronze wire so it looked like a more natural tree color. That's probably what I'll plan for these other beads. But for now, let's do gold because you can't go wrong with gold. Now they don't take a lot of beads, especially if you're working on such a tiny tree. So I like to take another one of these rings, or just like, you know, anything, and just keep my beads right here so that they don't roll around. Because it is so easy to lose these things. They'll just roll right off the table. And now my husband has a hard time working with crafts like this because it's so particular and these beads are so tiny. So what he does, if you have big hands or big fingers and, you know, working with dexterous little things like this is difficult for you, you can also just use your needle nose pliers to pick up the beads for you and take them and put them on the wire like that if you're having trouble. But I have tiny little fingers, so I can just pick them up. And I like these beads. These are like cheap, crummy beads, but it's kind of a good thing because they're not like standard because they're so crummy. They come in different sizes. You can see one bead was made very thick and another bead was made very thin. If you want to focus, please. Camera. There we go. So there's a big difference that you can see in these two beads. But it's nice when they don't match up like that because it gives you this sort of like variation in the leaves where some leaves are big and some leaves are small. So it's actually kind of a good thing if you get like some cheaper beads that aren't, you know, measured exactly and cut exactly. Can you take the wire ends and just stick them onto the beads that are on the table to scoop? You can see what I've done here is I have taken my wire and I've sort of bent it upwards. So now if I tilt my tree, the beads don't fall off because I've bent my wire a little bit upwards like this. So, I mean, if you wanted to try and scoop your beads, you could try, but they might start to fall off a little bit depending on how many you have on here. I would think that it would work in the beginning, but as you worked your way around the tree, it might they might start to fall off because you'd have to scoop them up at a bit of an angle. Oh, this is gonna look so good. Oh, I love my gold tree already. And when you're putting the beads on here, you might have to like shift your branches around because where the wire's so much smaller, so it makes very small gaps, but your beads end up filling in those gaps. So where you thought a bead could fit, so like let me show you here. I have these two wires coming off of this branch, and I've just put these beads on this wire, and now it looks like there's no room left for this one here. Please? Pretty please? There we go. So it looks like there's no room left here, so I might have to take this wire and sort of bend it up a bit like this. See, if I do that, when I've bent it up, I've made some more room. Now I can put a bead on there, just like that. So don't be afraid to sort of like mush your wire around, mush your tree around. Try to get more things to fit on it. I've even had some of my branches like just overlap one another, where they crowded way too much. So I sort of made them a little bit 3D where the branches had to come out a bit and wrap over each other. I wouldn't recommend doing that too much. But if things get tight on your tree, this is why I recommend doing only about 12 if you're working on a 2-inch hoop. Because if you do more roots, that means you're gonna end up with more branches in the end, which means it's gonna be a tighter squeeze to fit everything on the outside edge. I think when I first did these trees, I was aiming for about 15 wires. I was gonna cut 15 of them, but by the time I got to like 13, I was like, oof, I can't fit any more on here. So my magic number ended up being 12. Here's kind of how it's looking. You can see how crowded it gets. If you're using smaller beads, it's not going to look as crowded. But I think these beads are just about the perfect size that you want to go for. See how I've just taken this branch here. Oh my gosh. That was weird. My camera sort of died there for a second. Alright, you can see how I've taken this branch and I've bent it outwards to try and make more room here. Stick my hand right in there. So now I've bent it outwards like that. So I can take this bead and sort of go around there. Just like that. So I've made more space for it. And you'll want to stop on the inside edge. See how all of my beads aren't going outside the edge of this ring here. See if I added another one here, it would sit on top of the edge. You don't quite want to do that. That's too far. So I'm going to take this one off so that it stops right on the inside. Oh, thank you for checking, Ori. Yeah, I thought maybe my stream died a little bit there when my camera cut out. Sort of picking the smaller beads when they're more appropriate. Filling in the little gaps. I didn't leave myself a whole lot of space at the top of my tree. You can see most of my empty branches are all down here. So my tree is going to be a bit sparse on this side and on the top, and then most of my foliage is going to be down along these branches here where I have the most bare wire. Get some more beads and all out of the little ones. I'm getting down to this part where there's a lot of wire, and that means it's gonna get pretty crowded. So like I said, sometimes you have to like shuffle them around. Make sure everything fits on here. I keep shoving my hand right in the camera, I'm sorry. Here, watch me make a tree. Don't let me show you anything that I'm doing by just blocking it. The tree is trying to lift out of the hoop, yeah. Stay down there, tree. That's alright, we'll secure it when we're done with these beads. Oh, this looks so cool. I love this gold and silver tree, it looks so cool. I'm on my last group of branches here. It's getting crowded. It's getting crowded on my little tree. Don't be bad. Hello, don't be bad. Don't be bad says arts and crafts. Yeah. Showing you all how to make a little wire tree. I'm making a fancy gold and silver one. Ugh. My leaves are escaping. Megatrash says, I am back. Hello, Megatrash. Welcome back. We're getting near the end of it here. Just putting on the finishing touches, getting our leaves. That's sick. Thank you. This is probably another one that I'm going to bring to an upcoming convention I'm going to. I don't know if any of you are around the West Coast, but I'll be going to a convention called KiRAWRa in September. It's going to be the convention's first year, and it'll be in Ocean Shores, which just is such a nice vacation spot, like, to start out with. So it'll be like a double vacation, like a vacation, a beach vacation with a convention vacation. Though not quite as much vacation as I would like, because I still have to work. I'll be hosting a booth there in the dealer's den. Megatrash says, I'm in California. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. I like being up in Washington because I get to be so close to California. I mean, it's still a pretty big state to have to drive through, but a lot of cool stuff happens in California, so it's nice to live close to it. Okay, so I got all my beads on here. They might be a little mushed. I might have to like rearrange them a little bit. But now, like, I'm gonna bend the wire up just so they don't fall off. So I'm bending it up so that they don't just slide off while I'm doing this. There, I'm gonna do the side shot. You can see how the wire's all bent up there. Alright, now here's the last thing we have to do, but also the thing that takes a long time. We're gonna wrap our tree branches and secure our beads down. And we're gonna do that the exact same way we did the roots. And this is where your pliers are gonna come in really handy. So I'm just gonna grip it with my pliers. I'm gonna pull it nice and tight like that. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna loop it again. Take my pliers, pull it nice and tight. So you can see here how I'm doing that. Come on, camera. There, this is the tree branch here. And I've looped it a couple times. How many times you want to loop it is up to you. I think I like to do 4 or 5 loops. Gets it nice and secure. What do you use gold for? Well, in this case, I've used it as leaves. Unless you mean gold wire. You can use gold wire any way that you want to. Alright, so here I've looped it around just like that. And this is when I will take my wire cutters and I will go boop, cut that off. Alright, then I'll take my nice grippy pliers and I'll pull it down really tight. Just like that, sort of mush it down because you don't want that sharp bit to come up and get you. And that is how you completely finish a tree branch. So those beads are not going anywhere. Come on. There it is. All tied down nice and tight. So we're going to do that with the rest of them, but we're not quite going to go all the way around. I'm just going to do one loop around. Just like this. Just one loop just to secure it. So I'm going to do that for all my branches. I'm just going to do one loop around. Secure it tight. One loop around. Take my pliers. Secure that. See now all these beads, they're just being held on there. So we're not going to finish it quite yet. Just making sure we can get everything secured down because we don't want our beads flying off. Like Trash says, I was talking about for the stream avatar thing. Oh, I see. The currency. That's what you meant for the little rats. So by being in the stream, you will be racking up the currency, which is gold now, but I'm thinking of changing it. I was asking chat in a previous stream like what it could be called. I think someone said like nibbles, which is really freaking cute. So I might change it to nibbles because oh my goodness, that's adorable. But yeah, as Cvizzle said, you'll be able to buy customization options for your little rat. You know, change its color or give it different things to wear. Right now, there's not a whole lot. I haven't added, because all of the little options, all the little rats, those were made by me. Uh-oh. It froze again. Okay, let me see when it comes back up. That's the same thing it did earlier in the stream. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's so strange. Okay, this time I definitely saw. It's back now. It's back. Okay. Thank you for keeping me updated, you guys. I appreciate that very much. This time I did get a little update. It said stream has lost connection, attempting to reconnect. But I still didn't hit any lag. I still didn't drop any frames. You know, nothing is stuttering. So I really don't, I feel like that's gotta be on Twitch's end. There's like no indication here that anything's going wrong. It did tell me that it tried to reconnect, but that's it. I'm not sure. So what are they for? It cut out halfway through explanation. Okay, so it's just a little currency that you earn by being in chat. So as long as you are here enjoying the stream, you will automatically rack up that currency. And later, when I'm able to add more, you will be able to spend it on customizing your rat. I'm planning like special rat colors for subscribers. There will be obviously more hats. Right now, the only thing available is a chef hat because that's all I've made. But I will be making some more interesting things for your rats to wear. And when I do, you'll be able to purchase those and customize your little ratty. You know, like probably like angel wings or like little costumes. I'm thinking would be cute as well. And of course, you're more than welcome to suggest things you might want to see me make for the little rats. I was keeping a little suggestion chart. Any idea how much I need to save up to get wings on my rat eventually? I have no idea what the pricing system is going to be. I'll have to look and see how much people have accumulated. Unfortunately, I think it reset because it said that I only had 4 gold when I started. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I've been present for all of my own streams, so it doesn't make sense I should only have 4 gold. And I think that is because I moved to a new computer and apparently it saved that information locally. I thought maybe it would save it in some sort of avatar's cloud or something, but it didn't, and I'm sorry for that. So I think I'm just gonna like bulk give everyone like 100 or 200 points or something just to make up for how it reset. So I'm gonna have to check and see how many points people have and then sort of figure out the pricing tiers from there so people have something to you know, aim towards. Dragon wings, says Mega Trash. Heck yeah, dragon wings. All kinds of dragon parts. Dragon horns, dragon scales. Get everyone your little dragon rats. Bat wings. Wouldn't bat wings and dragon wings be kind of the same thing? You'd think. Unless dragon wings are just spikier. Bat ears, Ori. You just want me to make a bat. You want me to make all the bat parts so you can just be a bat. Skeletal rat version would be cool. That would be super cool. Alright, so I have now tied all of the wires. So now we can do whatever we want to our tree and none of the bees are gonna fall off. Now, like I said, this takes the longest part to wrap and finish all of the outside wires, so I'm not feeling too tired out by stream, so I think I can continue doing that here. Silver seems to be the easiest to do because it matches. Raptor feather tails. I would like to do like little, I think it would be very cute if I did like little hoodies, like little costume hoodies. And I really wanted to do like a stegosaurus because I think it's just the way that the little rats look. A stegosaurus with hoodie with like spikes along the back. I think that would be super duper cute. Alright, so here I am tightening that little bit that I cut off. Now you can see that we have 2 branches finished. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Done there. A shark mutation. Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, I could do like a shark fin. That's a really cool idea. Little sharky rats. Rats of the sea. It's like every time I stream, I'm like, oh, maybe next time there will be more things to choose from. Because I would love to add more, but, you know, it's always a matter of trying to find time in between all of the other things that you have to find time for, you know? And it just comes down to, like, really high priority stuff. Which is to say, I'm sorry I haven't streamed in like 3 weeks. But it's just another thing that I've had to really set up and get situated with, moving all of my stuff to a new setup and a new desktop. But I think we're pretty well settled in. And it looks like I remade the rats pretty well, because you guys haven't had too much issue with those, from what I can tell. No chef hats on the thigh or anything. Ori says various duckbill crests. Why did I even bother making rats? By the sounds of it, I should have made dinosaurs, huh? Make fish that flop around, says Mega Trash. That might be distracting if I had a bunch of if I had a bunch of fish flopping around my screen. The rats are already distracting, but that's just because they're so cute. The rats will be into cosplay. There you go. If you want fish, I'll just give them little Magikarp hoodies. That'll be pretty cute. Flish! Get out of here. Oh, that's what I should do. I should make like a little Rattata. I should just make like a little purple one with a curly tail. That would be really cute. What color is shiny Rattata? Isn't shiny Rattata gold? Yeah. That's what I'll do. I'll make some little Rattatas. Whoops. Tangling my wire here. There we go. I started playing the Pokemon games again. I started playing Sun and Moon. I have had Moon. Corey's had Sun, but I've had Moon since it came out. And I got kind of bored with it. soon after, and I never finished it. I never finished the game. And now that Sword and Shield are coming out, it's like, oh no, I'm gonna... Like, this generation is gonna lapse me, you know? I hardly know anything about Gen 7 because I didn't finish the game. I barely got off the first island. So I thought, well, it's now or never. I better play it before Sword and Shield come out. So I started up a new game file and I've started playing that. And of course, I have a Rattata on my team, and it's so cute. I didn't really like Alolan Rattata when it was revealed, but KiRAWRa bought me a Alolan Rattata plushie, and it has that silly mustache on it, and I've really warmed up to it. I like it a lot now. Where's my little thing? I'll go get it. Here he is. Here's my Alolan Rattata with his little mustache. Yes. Good. His little tail. KiRAWRa says, because it sat on your desk saying, "Love me, I demand it." Well, I'll give some backstory. They never made an official Rattata plushie. And Rattata, obviously, is one of my favorite Pokemon. And it was very upsetting that they would make so many plushies of other Pokemon, and yet Rattata had never, ever, ever had an official plushie made of it. And it's like, come on, it's original 151. It's a classic. Why won't you give me my Rattata? And they finally made plushies of Rattata when Gen 7 came out. But of course it was only the Alolan version. So KiRAWRa went and got me this plushie and was like, you know, it's not the Rattata you always wanted, but it's finally an official Rattata plushie. So she got it for me, so I appreciated that very much. But since then, with their Sitting Cuties collection, I do finally have my very first and only official Rattata plushie from the Sitting Cuties collection. They did the original 151. So go to the Pokemon Center and get your original 151 Pokemon that they probably never made a plushie of. I'm sure there's a lot they never made official plushies of. I had to get a Growlithe too. It's my Growlithe. You know, they got all of them, like even the ugly ass ones. We got Muck and Grimer and Ditto and Kabuto and like all that shit. If you ever thirsted for a Gen 1 plush like me, now is your chance. Rattata got a lot of love this past year, says Cvizzle. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm glad that they're finally giving my boy Rattata some attention. He deserves it. PC Visual says I don't see a Trubbish. I said Gen 1, you silly. Yeah, it's all Gen 1 right now. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do the rest of the gens one by one, but so far they just finished all of the first. Oh, Ori says they're bringing out Gen 2s. Oh, nice. Okay. So, Gen 2, coming up. You can get your ugly Pokemon. Finally. They deserve it. Mega Trash says I used to collect Rayquaza Pokemon cards specifically and bought an Ancient Origins booster box for $200 just to get the secret rare shiny Mega Rayquaza. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I spent my fair share of money on Pokemon cards. I spent more than my fair share of money on Pokemon cards. But then I kind of had to afford a house. And so I haven't bought Pokemon cards in a long time. Ori says, I have Lapras and Articuno from that line. Articuno has such a floofy belly. Aww. Yeah, what is the ugliest in Gen 2? I don't really know. Buy Pokemon cards, make houses out of them, says Don't Be Bad. Win-win. Yeah. Suppose if you don't mind not having plumbing or electricity or internet, you could live in a card house. Okay, about, I don't know if I'm halfway yet, but we're getting there. Like I said, this part takes the longest. We're getting there. Here's a look of how my branches have been tied off here. Here they are. Looking nice. Looking nice. Make it out of commons and energy cards to save money. Yeah, you can get those in bulk. So my wire is starting to get pretty short when you get to the end here. Mega Trash asks, anyone else get into the Rainbow Loom phase? Oh my gosh. I swear the Rainbow Loom phase has been around since the 80s. It just like circles back around for every new generation of kids. I'm pretty sure that my parents were into Rainbow Loom. I got into Rainbow Loom as a kid. Ori says, Gen 2 less popular Pokemon. Apom, Gligar, Shuckle. Are you kidding me? All those Pokemon are great. All those Pokemon are hella popular. Especially Shuckle. Gligar's cool. I've never forgotten about Apom. He's such a weird little dude. There you go, Mega Trash. Mega Trash knows. Is Gen 2 the smallest gen? Is it really? Because I know like, was it like Gen 6 and Gen 7 were also pretty darn small. It's sad how small they are nowadays. I liked guessing that we would get like, you know, another 150 new Pokemon. But no, now they're only in like 70s, lower. They just want money and are out of ideas. Mega Trash, they've been out of ideas since the first gen. The first gen has some of the worst Pokemon I've ever seen in my life. I feel like any ideas past first gen have been better. I mean, think about it. First gen has a literal sentient Pokeball, a pile of mud that evolves into a bigger pile of mud, a freakish clown, and a flying spaghetti monster. So like, those are pretty bad. Somehow they've never made a griffin, says Ori. That would be cool if they made a griffin Pokemon. I feel like there are some birds they've made that bordered on griffin, but yeah, I think you're right. I can't think of anything that would bring to mind griffin. Yes, I got the star, says Mega Trash. Congrats! Yay! I heard a theory a long time ago that really made me at peace with all of the Pokemon that a lot of people seem to hate. You know, like Vanilla Ice, the Pokemon one, and Trubbish, the garbage one. Like, people really, really, really hate those Pokemon, and I did too in the beginning. But I've really made my peace with them now, and I'm not bothered by any, like, of the... what do you call it, like object Pokemon anymore. I think they're fine, because what I read was, you know how Mew is, what is it, like the first Pokemon, like the DNA Pokemon, all Mew's DNA made all of their Pokemon, something like that. And it was explained like during the Pokemon Big Bang, or whatever you want to call it, Mew's DNA floated down to Earth, and anything that Mew's DNA touched became a Pokemon, and that's how Pokemon were made, and that's why Mew's DNA is the basis of all Pokemon. And if you think about it, you know, if this DNA is floating down with the power to make anything it touches into a Pokemon, then it totally makes sense that it's gonna float down and touch, you know, a pile of mud or a garbage bag or ice cream. You know, it's gonna fall on just random everyday shit, and it's freakishly going to gain sentience and become a Pokemon. So knowing that, you know, I think it makes sense. I think, yeah. Unfortunately, Garbodor is a Pokemon that got touched by magical Mew DNA. So, yeah, I think that rationalizes it a bit. They need to use Fakemon people made and make them official designs. Oh my god, I wish. I seriously wish. the Fakemon people make are so awesome. It makes me sad because I know that like the real evolutions and stuff are not going to be that good. Like when people make their predictions for what the starters are going to evolve into, I just get sad looking at those because they're so good and I know that the real thing is not going to be that good. It's like, oh, I wish you could just do these Fakemon, please. Just pay these artists, use their Fakemon, make it real. It's what the people want. Oh, there's Buzz Swole plushies. Nice. Nice. I still don't know what those, what are they, like mega beasts? What are they called? Ultra beasts? I still don't really know much about them because like I said, I never made it to the end of Sun and Moon. I've only just restarted it. I'm still on the first island, booping around, so... No spoilers, please! I really don't know anything about the Ultra Beasts yet. I don't even know if they're in the game, because I know sometimes Pokemon releases things outside of the games. They should have made the whole GX and Ultra Beast. Oh, they should have never made GX and Ultra Beast. Post Elite Four. Oh, okay, so that's way late in the game. Let's see if I can get through it. Let's see if I can get through the game and finish it this time before Sword and Shield. I'm really dating this video, aren't I? I intended for this video to be like a tutorial that I was gonna post up on YouTube, and now I'm sitting here talking about Pokemon, and people are gonna watch it like 4 years from now like, oh, Sword and Shield, that's so old. And I was intending to play Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but I'm not sure it's worth it because Seabizzle's playing through it and it seems like exactly the same game. Like, is there anyone that's played through both the main game or one of the main games and then like an Ultra version of the game? Like, does it make a difference? Is anything different in the game? Because it doesn't appear like there's anything different. Just seems like the same thing again with some slight changes as to what Pokemon spawn. Which is super lame because, you know, I remember getting Black and White too, and it was like a whole expansion on the story. It was really cool. I would have expected that for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but it doesn't seem like it. Ori says, I played through Moon and started Ultra Moon. They start off really similar. Looking at guides, it seems that late game adds some new stuff. Huh. That's still kind of disappointing, isn't it? Late game adds new stuff. Like, that's it? You don't get a whole new story? Oh, I have like little gold flecks and little pieces on my fingers. I don't know if you can see that. Got little pieces everywhere. Oh my gosh! I finished it! Here it is, wrapped all the way around. Hooray! Look at that. So the last thing that I do on my little tree here, you can see how I had to mush the beads in and they're sort of overlapping here like I was talking about earlier. We've like overlapped each other. If I show you this way, you can see how the beads are popping out there. So the last thing I do to give a little bit of personality to my tree is I just take my pliers and I kind of twist them a bit like this. And I give some twistiness to my branches. Give them a little bit of personality. See how I've twisted that one a bit now? Just gonna give it a little meh, just like that. Twist that a little bit. There, and you can see here how they're all sort of like zigzaggy now. Just gives your tree a little bit more life, a little bit more, some more angles. Make it a little wigglier. Wiggly and twisty. Alright, there, you see that? You see how it's nice and wiggly now? Yeah. Looks cool. Nice wiggly looking tree. And you can do that on the roots as well. Give the roots some wiggle. Like that. Come on. There we go. And that's about it. Now our tree's done. We have a beautiful silver and gold tree. I think that came out quite lovely. Doesn't lean as much as I wanted it to, but it's still angled a bit. I think it looks very nice. Very nice. And here's our other one with more color on it for comparison. So you can sort of judge how they turn out differently. And I made these two trees the exact same way, and you can see how different they turn out, which is what just makes this so cool that you don't even have to try, and they all turn out so very unique. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. That's about all I have for today. It took a bit longer than I expected as well. But you know, like you said, it takes longer when I'm explaining it. So this is going to be a tree that I will take to my convention and hopefully sell. And if it doesn't sell, I'll put it up on Etsy, but that will be months from now. So hopefully it sells in that time. I'm sort of pushing up on the tree to get it to pop out a bit more. See how it's concave there, and here it's a little bit more 3D on this side. KiRAWRa's been live for 35 minutes. Yeah, it's been a bit longer than that. I started at about 6. Alright, so I think that turned out wonderful, and if you've been following along, I would absolutely love to see your tree. Like, I would die to see your tree. Please show me. Here's my Discord. I'm gonna pop that up in chat. There's a link to it if you would like to join. I would love to see you there. I would love to see your tree. We have an art channel where you can post your art that you've made, especially your beautiful trees. And that will be all for me tonight. Put a tag on this tree that says featured on one of the popular streams hosted by KiRAWRa. Yeah. I'll just put a little tag. This one is more expensive because it comes with a tutorial. Okay. So I will say good night to you all. I'll talk to you more on Discord. I'm just gonna post that again. Boop, Discord. Alright, good night everybody. Thank you for joining me. Next time I stream, we'll probably be back to some digital art. Lord knows I always have stuff to work on. And in the meantime, I'll chat it up with you guys on Discord because I love having you in there and seeing all the wonderful things you make. Alright, good night everybody. Good night my lovely rats. I love my lovely rats. My on fire rats. My chef rats. Good night everybody. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned a lot, or at least I hope you didn't get dumber.